Good morning, welcome. So this is Embodied Hatha Flow, and today we are focusing on a full body, slower practice that's going to help you prepare for shoveling all the snow that's coming in the next day or two. So we're really focusing on hips and core and shoulders, an opportunity to move slow and mindfully through your body. Hopefully this is a practice you can come back to throughout the winter just to either feel good and open yourself before you go and shovel that snow, or after you come in and everything feels tight and sore, and the way we often feel after we're exhausted from our cold Canadian winters. This practice will hopefully help you feel a little more relaxed, released, and re-energized. We definitely need 2 blocks, and we're going to start on our back. So just in a version of Shavasana, so whether you bend the knees and keep the feet on the floor, or whether you come all the way down into a full corpse pose with the legs long, it's completely up to how your body feels as we start to arrive. So as you come down, tuck the shoulder blades under. Let the low back feel easy. So if you need to rock the hips or lift them and adjust them, if you're able, let your palms turn up. Allow your eyes to close. And just start tuning into how your breath is moving this morning. And as we usually do, let's take these few breaths here to just take a scan, head to toe. Start to notice where you're feeling tense or tight. If your jaw is clenched, or if your shoulders feel like they were pulling and rounding forward, and use a little bit of intention to let them be heavy towards the floor. Start to relax the core and the muscles around the sit bones. Soften the muscles in the top of the thighs, the quadricep. Find some ease right down into the soles of the feet. And then we're going to bring some yang to our breath. So some intentional guidance to the depth of our breathing. Start to see if you can increase the length of your inhale to maybe 4 or 5 breaths, so that you feel your ribs expand outward and you breathe right into the very top of your lungs so they're fully expanded without contracting the body at all. And then just pause at the top of your breath. So not clenching down, just a suspension of the breathing. And take that pause as long as feels good in your body. So if at some point you start to feel like you can't not breathe, you can't take that exhale, When you start to feel that discomfort come in, slowly let the breath go through the nose. See if you can lengthen it out to a count of maybe 5 or 6. Nice and slow. So when you breathe in, your belly rises and then your ribs expand outward. All the air you can take in, and then take that pause for as long as feels good. And just notice how you feel as you're suspending the breath. Starting to feel a little energized, hopefully. And the exhale through the nose, let it be really long and complete. So all of the air leaves the body. And then when you're breathing in on your next inhale, feel like you're drawing energy from the soles of the feet. So as you breathe in, you're going to move the energy all the way up towards the crown of the head as you suspend the breath. And when you start to let your breath release, draw the energy from the crown of the head, send it back to the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. We're going to do that one more time. On your own time, however that feels in your body. When you inhale, the energy shifts up and through. The breath is full, ribs open, heart is lifted. Pause. And when it's ready to let the breath go, open the mouth and let it go. We're going to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then bend the knees so the feet find the floor. Take a moment to tuck your shoulder blades under. Let the arms come down towards your sides and let the palms come down this time. We're going to take some dynamic bridge just to warm up the shoulders and the spine and the hips. So we're going to start with the arms first. On your breath, energize your arms. So reach your fingers like you're going to try and grab the bottom of your mat. And then exhale, soften the arms back towards the floor, shoulders mount. This time on your inhale, energize the arms again. We're going to reach them up overhead, slowly tie it to breath. So as you reach the top of your inhale, the hands come down towards the floor above you, or maybe towards a block, depending on how your shoulders feel. And exhale, they come back down towards the sides of the body, touching down at the bottom of your exhale. Inhale, the arms start to rise. And exhale, they slowly float back down towards the sides. And I want you to really tune into how this feels through the shoulder socket. So inhale, energize the arms. And the more energizing you put through the ends of the hands right to the tips of the fingers, the more you'll feel this in the shoulders. And then exhale, the hands come back down towards the sides. This time we're going to add the bridge in. So as you inhale, press the low back down first, and then breathing in, the hips start to rise up. So press into the feet. You reach the top of your bridge and the hands touch down above at the top of your inhale. And as you exhale, hands come down slowly from the top of the spine. Hips and the hands come down as you end your breath. Inhale, lifting. So really pressing into the feet. We want to energize this. Squeeze the thighs together as you come up. And don't forget about the shoulders. Exhale, coming down. So lots happening here. Trying to tie it all to the flow of your breath. Let's take 2 more like that. Inhale, lifting. Arms rise. Keeping your chin away from your chest. You can. Exhale, lowering down. Last one, really energize the hands, press strong into the feet. We're going to pause at the top of the breath here. We're going to keep the breath flowing, but you can interlace the fingers if you like. And then just keep lifting through the hips. So maybe you adjust your shoulders to get a little bit more height in your bridge. Press into the feet, lift the hips as high as you can get them. Keep the arms long. Let this feel good through the shoulders, the spine, really starting to turn on through the tops of the thighs. Take one more full breath here, lift a little bit higher if you can. And as we exhale, everything comes back down together so that the hips and the hands arrive at the bottom of your exhale. Take a pause right here. And let's bring the right knee in towards the chest. We're going to take the left leg long, flex that foot. My heel apparently gets to rest on a Yorkie who's sitting at the bottom of my mat, but yours can hover or it can touch down onto the floor depending on what your body feels like here as we start to warm up. As you breathe in, the knee might move away from the top of the body so there's room for the breath. And as you exhale, draw the knee towards the outside of the ribs. So we start to lengthen the hamstring and reach into the glute muscle a little bit. And keeping the extended leg nice and energized so that it feels really, really long coming out of the hip socket. Let's take one more full breath here. And then the extended leg, we're going to focus on that. So keeping the right knee in towards the body. On your inhale, we're going to take the leg up into the air, the left leg. So we're a little bit of a leg lift here. Keep the foot flexed so it comes like it's going to try and stand on the ceiling. Exhale, let's lower back down to the hover. Trying to keep the shoulders melting down. Inhale, the leg comes back up. Exhale, lower down to a hover. So keeping your core engaged as we move here. Inhale, leg lifts. Exhale, the heel comes back down. Nice and slow, moving with breath, just like we did with the bridge. Two more. Inhale, the leg comes up. Exhale, coming down. We're lubricating that hip joint. Last one here. Inhale up. Exhale, take it down to a hover. Bring the left knee in towards the chest. Give it a bit of a rest here. You can draw the knees apart from each other. You can give yourself a gentle hug. So just take a breath here. And then we're going to switch sides. So the left knee is going to stay in towards the body. The right leg's going to come out into that hover. Flex the foot and press through the heel. And bring your focus to the bent knee, to the left knee. So as you inhale, the knee might move away from the torso. And as you exhale, let the knee come towards the outside of the ribs. So we start to open again through the back of the hamstrings, reaching into the glutes. The right leg is long and engaged. Slow, deep breaths right here. And then we're going to change our focus again, this time towards the right leg. Take those leg lifts. So as we breathe in, we're going to slowly lift the leg up so that the foot stays flexed like we're going to step on the ceiling. Exhale, start to lower it back down towards the hover. That's one. On your breath in, nice and slow, comes back up. Exhale, we're going to lower it all the way back down. Inhale up. Lots of control here. Exhale, bringing it down nice and slow so that the movement ends with the breath. Two more. Inhale, coming up. So we don't want to lift quickly and pause. We want to have the movement be consistent. Exhale, lowering down. One more. You guys can totally do this. Inhale, bring the leg up. Exhale, take it down. Perfect. Bring the knee back to chest. And then move here any way that feels good. So you can pause with knees to chest. You can draw the knees away from each other. Maybe take a rock. You make circles that would feel really good on your hips just to keep lubricating through the joint. Find a little bit of release. And then I want you to find your own way to hands and knees. So you can come to your side and just make your way there, or you can rock and roll the legs of your spine and pop up. So we're gonna take a wrist opener first here, because if we have to shovel today, we don't realize how much our wrists take as we do that. So spread your fingers wide. Bring the wrists underneath your shoulders. So we're at a tabletop here. I want you to feel like you're pressing the center of your palm down into the floor. And press the floor away. Feel like you're lifting your spine, the middle of your back, right between your shoulder blades, above your shoulders. And it's gonna feel like you're contracting in the front line. So here's getting closer together. The space around the shoulder blades is moving away from the spine. And then pressing the palm down, I want you to drop your heart down. So squeeze the shoulder blades back towards each other. So keep the arms really engaged. Squeeze the shoulders together so that the heart drops down. It's a tiny little movement. And then as you breathe in, press the floor away again so you feel like you're lifting your heart above your shoulders. Keep the fingers spread, nice and wide. And as you exhale again, we're going to drop the heart down. So keep your chin lifted away from your chest rather than tucking it in. It's a lot on your neck to keep it tucked. Press the floor away, lift the heart above the shoulders. Exhale, the heart drop down, squeeze the shoulder blades back. We're going to do one more like that. Press the floor away, lift the heart. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then let that go. Just come to neutral. So you can shift and move a little bit here. We're going to take a wrist opener now instead of a shoulder opener. So turn the fingers towards the outside edges of your mat and start to walk your wrists towards one another. And so some of us will be able to get the wrists to kiss. Some people could be very, very wide. Depends on how your shoulders feel. It also depends on how your inner line of your wrist feels and how tight that is. So you come as close together as is maybe a little bit uncomfortable in your body, but doesn't create any pain, whether it's to the shoulder, the hand, or the wrist. And then on your inhale, you're going to press the hands down and shift the heart forward. And we're going to make circles. So choose one direction. Doesn't matter which one you do because we're going to do both directions. So the hips shift back, the hands stay in place. And move really slow with your breath. The slower you do this, the more you're going to feel, but also the more benefit you're going to get, because you can really just come into that edge space where you reach into that space of discomfort, but you start to feel that opening in those places through the palm of the hand, the wrists, even into the fingers a little bit. And depending on your body, this might be a tiny, tiny movement that barely resembles a circle. If you do this often enough, or you just have really open wrist lines, you might have really big circles. Doesn't matter what it looks like, it really matters how this feels. We're going to take one more breath going in this direction. So you're going to pause with your heart forward, press the heels of the hands down. Let's change direction. So as you exhale, the hips move back and press the hands down stronger. Moving in the circle, and this might feel really, really different. You might be like, wow, I don't have a lot of space going in this direction. That's okay. It just shows you where your tension is. We're going to take two more really slow breaths moving in this direction. As you inhale, bring the heart forward. And then as you exhale, bring the heart back over the wrists. Okay, so we're going to bring the wrists up off the floor one at a time. So pick one hand up, doesn't matter which one, really slow. I'm going to flip it over and just intend the base of the wrist down, the back of the palm towards the floor. And you're going to get a counter stretch here, a release through the back of the wrist, the back of the hand. You might feel some tingles, some temperature, warm or cool. Just breathe through that, let it go. And then pick up that hand, open and close it, wiggle the fingers. Don't shake it out though, just gentle movements to move through whatever feels like it needs a little bit of movement. That hand comes down to support us, and we're going to pick up the other hand. Same thing, really slow. Breathe through that uncomfortable release. Palm is up, back of the hand is down, just intending through the base of the wrist. Slow, deep breaths right here. And then movement. So wiggle the fingers, roll out the wrists, open and close the hand. And then the hands come back down. We're gonna take a little bit of flying bird dog here to warm up this morning. So we're gonna take the left leg straight back from the hip, flex the foot, put the weight into both hands and close your hip down. So you want your toes, your knees, and your hip facing the floor. Press the floor away again so you get that little space between your shoulder blades. And you can stay right here, or you can start to reach your right hand forward. If you do, energize through the arm. So you're reaching through the fingers, pressing through the heel. Feel all of the muscles around the spine, so the core muscles kind of cinch in towards the spine like a corset. Slow, deep breath right here. We're going to bring elbow to knee. So inhale, get really long. Exhale, elbow to knee and round the spine. Take a crunch. Inhale, get long. Exhale, take the crunch. Inhale, extend. Take the crunch underneath. That's 3. Inhale, get really, really long. So take a moment here to find your balance again. Press the heel, reach the fingers. And we're going to take the toes on that lifted leg. The toes come down towards the floor. Bring the palm back down to the mat. So we're back on hands. The toe is down on the extended leg. Press your heel back. So keep your shoulders over your wrists and find the length from the top of the glute on the extended leg, so the left leg. Feel it open all the way down the back of the leg. Take a full breath right here. And we're going to place the right hand under your face so you can put it on a block if you have a block. We're going to turn this into a side plank. So turn the back foot onto an angle. Inhale, reach the left hand up into the air. So keep your gaze down towards the hand that's on the floor. And you're going to press your hips forward a little bit. It's going to help bring your body in line, feel a little bit better. Maybe find a little bit more balance here. And then if it feels okay, your gaze might start to rise up towards that top hand. You're going to find more openings through the heart, but it's also going to challenge your balance more. So you really want to press through the outside of the back foot to feel stable. Let's take a full breath right here. And exhale, bring the top hand back down. So the hands come back under the shoulders, turn back onto the back toe. We're going to lift the heel back up. So take the leg back to the hover. Bring it back towards the knee. Take a child's pose here. So hips come back. Walk the hands forward as far as they'll go. We're going to take a striking cobra here before we do the other side. So on your inhale, we're going to round up to tabletop, hands and knees in cat pose. So feel the spine round. And then we're going to shift forward into a knee plank. So you might have to move your hands forward a little bit as you come into a plank from the knees. Don't let your hips sag. Keep them in line with the body. Very slowly, exhale, jump all the way down towards the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades back and start to lift your heart into your cobra. So keep your hips down, the elbows bent. Maybe this is a baby cobra to start. Exhale, come down. Press the floor away, round the spine through cat. Hips back to child's pose. Then inhale back up to hands and knees. So coming back to tabletop, and you're going to bring your wrists back underneath the shoulders in case they shifted. We're going to take our flying bird dog on the other side. So the right leg comes straight back from the hip. And again, toes, knees, and hips are squaring down towards the floor. So make that little adjustment. It's going to intensify the core. Keep your chin away from your chest. And your option is to reach your left hand forward. So we're pressing through the heel of the lifted leg, reaching through the fingers of the lifted hand. Press the floor away with what's down. Feel really strong here. Slow, deep breaths. Then we're going to inhale and get long, and on the exhale, we're going to take the crunch. So elbow to knee and round the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Take that one more time underneath, elbow to knee. Inhale, get really, really long. Let's pause here. Then the hand comes back down to the floor. The toes on the right foot come down towards the mat. So keep your shoulders over your wrists. Now press the heel back so you lengthen from the glute muscle all the way down the back of the leg towards the heel. You can feel this in the bottom of the foot, in the Achilles, in the calf. Take a slow, deep breath right here. And then the left hand comes under the face this time or onto your block. You're going to turn the back foot on an angle so that it finds the floor, and you can press to the outside of the foot. Inhale the right hand up into the air. Open the heart, the ribs, the shoulders. Gaze can be down. If you engage your core, maybe your hips come forward a little bit to find better alignment. If it feels right, maybe the gaze starts to come up. Really strong here. Press the floor away. Press to the outside of the back foot. Reach to the fingers. Slow, deep breath. On your next exhale, that hand comes back down towards the floor. Come onto the toes of the back foot. Lift that leg. So press through the heel. Press the floor away. Feel really strong. And the right knee comes back down. Find your child's pose. Walk your hands forward as far as they'll go. So we traction the spine. And feels like someone's got your hips pulling them back and someone else has your wrists and pulling them forward. So you're up on the fingertips. Slow, deep breath right here. Feel the hands come down towards the floor. Striking cobra. Inhale, rising through cat pose. So hands and knees, rounded spine. Shift forward into your knee plank. Adjust your placement as you need. Exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades back, find your cobra. So keep the elbows tucked in, the heart reaches up. Exhale, come down. Press the floor away, round the spine, hips back to chest. Inhale, rounding through cat. Shift the hips back and forward into our knee plank. Now, if you like, you can tuck your toes under and lift the knees into a full plank. It's an option you don't have to take. Wherever you are, press the floor away, feel strong. Exhale, come all the way down towards the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades back, find your cobra. Exhale down. Okay, we're gonna stay right here. We're gonna take our plank for the week. So coming to forearm plank, again, elbows underneath the shoulders. You can interlace fingers or have palms down. We all are hopefully used to this structure right now to be able to find the best place for ourselves. And then you're going to tuck your toes under. We're going for 45 seconds again. We're going to work through 45 seconds this week, and then next week maybe we'll add a few seconds onto where we're going. So take a full breath here. Press into the toes, lift the hips. So press the heels back. Keep your shoulders over the elbows. See if you can let your hips fall in line with the shoulders and the heels, and the chin stays away from the chest. Slow, deep breaths. Now, week to week, this can feel really different. Last week might have felt really easy, like that was nothing, and this week might be shaky and fatigued, or vice versa. Just be okay with wherever you are. You come out when your body says that's good. Slow, deep breath right here. Big, full, complete exhale. One more breath. Press into everything if you're still here. And on your exhale, we're going to lower the hips down. Beautiful, you guys. Untuck the toes. Make a pillow with your hands. The elbows can come out to the side. Let's just take a pause here. One more breath to let that go. Then let's bring hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to press either to hands and knees or to push-up. So if you want to come to push-up, you can tuck your toes under and press the floor away. Then we're going to let the knees come down if they're not there. Find your way back to a child's pose. So in this child's pose, depending on how your shoulders are feeling, you can keep your arms forward and maybe come up on fingertips and play into that space a little bit more, or you can let your hands come alongside, maybe reach back for the heels and let your shoulders tip forward. Take a moment to assess in your body what feels like it needs, especially through the shoulder joints. Breathe into the back line of your body. So we're really focused on core, hips, and shoulders today. Those are the spaces that, especially when we go out in the winter weather, get engaged the most when it's slippery, when we're lifting snow for not only the first time, every time. And they're the spaces that are going to hurt the most in the next week if we've got all this snow coming. So come back up towards hands and knees. I want you to tuck your toes under. We're going to come back into a little bit of a toe stand here. So we're going to walk our hands towards the knees as your hips get heavy towards your heels. And you are going to pause in the space where this feels like that is enough of a discomfort place to pause into. We're opening up the soles of the feet. So depending on how this feels for you, maybe you start to walk your hands up your thighs. Some of us, it doesn't really feel like anything. Some of us, it is excruciating. If you can sit back on your heels with your toes tucked and you want to, you need more, you might even lean back a little bit, but you can also just bring hands to heart, close the eyes. We're going to take 30 seconds worth of breath here. And the longer you tend to stay in a toe stand, the stronger the sensation becomes rather than the other way. So often when we're in a shape, the longer we're in it, it starts to dissipate. This pose, not so much. This one usually is the opposite. We're reaching into meridian lines, to fascia that we don't treat very nice. We're not usually very nice to our feet. So slow, deep breath wherever you are. One more full breath. Start to walk your hands back towards the hands and knees. Don't untuck your toes though. Just lift your hips away from your heels. You're going to feel that first release. It's going to be really warm or cool. It might be a tingle. Now, just like our wrists earlier, we're going to pick up one foot at a time, really slow, untuck the toes, and then just place the top of the foot down on the floor. Just pause and breathe right there. And then taking the other side, untuck the toes really slowly, place the top of the foot down, breathe into that energy shift. So the chi in our body, that's our energy that flows through us, our life energy, starts to shift back into that space, right? All the fluid, all the blood, all of the stuff that flows through the body, we just compressed it out. So now it's shifting back in. And then we can wiggle the toes, open and close the feet, roll the ankles. Some people like to tap the toes lightly on the floor. Just make sure it's really light because we don't want to break up what we just lengthened and opened. We're going to stay on knees here for a moment. We're going to come back into Seiza. So that's sitting back on our heels. If sitting back on your heels is something that you can do comfortably because it doesn't cause pain in your knees, then just come right back. If it is something that's uncomfortable, support it. So you can put a block, a couple of books, or a couple of blocks underneath your sit bones. And if that still is something you are unable to do in your body, just come down to sit for a moment. We're just going to take a breath here. We're going to focus on the shoulders. But being in Seiza keeps the energy shifting. So if we're able to do that, that's great. So lift the heart and a tall spine. Close the eyes for a moment. Press your shoulders back just a touch so that you feel really strong and aligned here. And then let the hands drop down by the sides. The palms shine forward, so we're externally rotating the arms. Inhale, reach the arms out to the side. So your palms are forward, coming into a T. And then just gently press the whole arm on both sides back. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades towards each other. You're going to feel this here through the front line of the chest and into the front of that shoulder joint. Trying to keep the arms at shoulder height. If they need to drop down, depending on how your shoulders feel, it's great. Try not to lift them higher though. Full breath here, really open the heart. Keep your ribs under your shoulders so we're not in a big back bend here. We want this to affect the shoulders. And then on your exhale, we're going to come into an eagle arm. So we're going to wrap the right arm over the left. So cross the arms at the elbow. And then bring either the back of hand to back of hand, or if you're able, you're going to wrap the arms and try and get palms to palms. Take a full breath here and see if you can keep your spine tall and start to lift your elbows just a touch so that this reaches into the back space of your shoulders and a little bit into the top of the shoulder where we always like to get a massage, and into the sidelines of the neck a little bit. Keep your breath flowing. And you can play here with even moving the hands away from the face. It's going to change the way it feels with the shoulder also. But you're going to explore this in the space that feels good for you. So if it's a lot, then you don't go that way. Slow breaths. On your exhale, drop the elbows back down. Unwrap the arms. Take them all the way up overhead. And then exhale, let the hands come down towards the sides. Tuck the chin in so that we feel that release in the sides of the neck. And then turn the palms forward again. Inhale, bring the arms back out into that T. We're going to press the arms back again. So backs of palms towards the back of the room. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open up the chest. Eagle arms again, this time left arm over right. So crossing at the elbows. Maybe you come back of hand to back of hand. Maybe you wrap palm to palm. Try and keep the spine from collapsing. Inhale, lift the shoulders, lift the elbows a little bit to reach into the shoulders. Slow, deep breaths wherever you are. And maybe the hands start to move away from the face a little bit. Depends on how this feels for you. Bring the hands back towards the face. Drop the elbows back down. Unwrap the arms. Inhale, reach them up overhead. Exhale, let them come down behind the low back. So we're going to interlace the fingers if that's available. If it's not available, you can put your hands on either side of the back of your hips. And we're going to turn this into a heart opener. So if you have the fingers interlaced, squeeze the shoulder blades back and draw your knuckles down. And your hands might move away from the low back to explore this through the shoulder. If your hands are on your hips, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades back like you're trying to touch your elbows towards each other. And lift and open through the heart. You're going to get a similar sensation. It's just a little kinder to the shoulders. Whatever version you're in, let's take a full breath here. Exhale, release wherever the arms are. Tuck the chin in, let the hands come back towards the knees. We're going to come forward towards hands and knees. So if you have a block underneath your sit bones, we're just going to move it aside. If you have a Yorkie underneath you, we're going to move it aside too. We're going to tuck the toes under and come up into a squatting downward dog. So press the floor away, keep the knees bent, and lengthen the spine. You're really going to feel this through the shoulders because we've been saying hello to them a bunch this morning. They might feel really open. They might feel a little bit vulnerable. So just work into the way feels good. You can shift and move around. Lift the hips nice and high while you keep a squat in your legs. Slow, deep breath right here. And then start to come into a regular down dog. So lift your hips high. You can walk your dog. So press one heel down and bend the opposite knee. Really slow with your breath. Change the knees. So walk it out, but do it nice and slow. So you can explore through the sole of the foot, the back of the leg. Changing legs one more time. And then when you're ready, settling into your down dog. So just let your heels be heavy, but your knees never ever have to straighten. And you want to start to reach your heart back towards your big toes. You're gonna feel this through the shoulders. You're gonna lengthen through your spine. And then I want you to externally rotate your arms. So doing it from this position, we want to feel like we're wrapping our armpits around to look at one another. You're going to feel your shoulder blades move away from your spine. And this is going to change the way this feels on your upper body. Take a slow breath right here. Then take your gaze between your hands. We're going to walk or step all the way up towards the top of the mat. Take a ragdoll fold, so a bend in the knees so the belly comes towards the thighs. You can let your arms hang. You can take opposite elbows, whatever feels good. You can shift and sway and move. Then coming to stillness here. We're going to bend the knees a lot. Come all the way up to stand, reach for the sky. Baby back bend if that would feel really good. And then exhale to heart. Close the eyes. Press the base of the big toe down into the floor. Just breathe right here. And then let it go. Take a sip of water. You can adjust yourself any way you like. We're going to take a deconstructed sun salutation, just one on each side, before we get into a little bit of balance, and then come back down to the floor. So when you're ready, we're going to come back towards the top of the mat, and if you're using blocks or books to lift the floor up to meet you as we move through our salutations, just bring them towards the top of your mat. So feet are about hip width apart, hands at heart. Take a full breath here. Inhale, we're going to reach for the sky. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Bend the knees as you come down. Inhale, come to a flat back. So draw the core in, lift the heart. Hands can come up the shins. Reach the crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees a lot. We're going to come all the way up to stand. Reach for the ceiling. On your exhale, come all the way back down to your fold. Low bend in the knees. Heart reaches down for the big toes. Come through flat back. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. Reach chin and heart forward. Exhale, come back down to your fold. Bend the knees a lot. Come all the way to stand. Our last swan dive here. Reach for the sky. Exhale, swan dive all the way down. Inhale, flat back. Feel the core cinch in towards the spine. Take the fold on the out breath. Now bend the knees a lot so the hands come to the mat and the right foot steps back into our runner's lunge. We're going to pause right here. Your knee can come down in your runner's lunge, depending on how this feels on the back legs or the hips. We want the front knee over the ankle. Blocks can come under the hands. So this lifts the heart up so that if you have short arms like me, the floor doesn't seem so far away. And the gaze is kind of down and forward so that your neck is an extension of your spine. Take one more full breath here. Step the front foot back into downward facing dog. So press the floor away, find your down dog. Shift and move if that's what you feel like you need, and then start to settle in. Rise all the way up onto toes. Unwind forward into a plank. So the shoulders come overneath the wrists. Your knees can come down into a knee plank, or you can stay lifted into a full plank. Take a full breath wherever you are. Exhale, come all the way down towards the floor. Untuck the toes, shoulders back, come up into your cobra. Exhale, come back to the floor. So now you're going to either come to tabletop or you're going to come to push up. So take a breath and find your way there. Then shift your way back into your downward facing dog. We're going to inhale the right foot up into the air, three-legged dog. So flex the heel, reach through that. Try and keep your shoulders and your hips squared to the floor. Press the floor away, reach the heel high. Take a full breath right here. And then on your exhale, we're going to bring the knee forward towards the torso and step in between the hands, coming back into our runner's lunge. So help the foot forward if it needs it. Take a breath right here. We're going to structure back into our runner's lunge. 3 slow breaths right here. Let the legs and the hips start to adjust. And the back foot's going to come up towards the top of the mat. Take your fold. Then bend the knees a lot. Come all the way up to stand. Reach for the sky. And we're going to swan dive all the way back down on your exhale. Slow, 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 lots of breath. Inhale, come back to your flat back. Exhale, take your fold. We're going to bend the knees so the hands come down to the mat. This time, step the left foot back into the runner's lunge. Pause right here. We're going to step the front foot back, downward facing dog. Just take a breath right here in our down dog. Rise all the way up onto toes. Unwind forward into our plank so the shoulders come over the wrists, knees might come down towards the floor. Whichever plank you're in, take a full breath right here. Exhale, lower with control down to the mat. Shoulder blades squeeze back, lift the heart, cobra. Exhale, come down. We're going to press the floor away and either come to all fours or come to a push-up. You choose. Move now with your breath. Then shift back to your downward facing dog. Inhale. We're going to take the left foot up into the air. So flex the foot so the heel gets nice and high. Square the shoulders and the hips towards the floor so you're reaching your heart back towards that big toe. And the left heel is reaching for the ceiling. Slow breath right here. Inhale, lift the heel just a touch higher. Exhale, the knee's going to come forward towards the heart. We're going to step between the hands, help the foot if it needs. Take a moment to adjust. 3 breaths right here in our runner's lunge. Next breath, the back foot's going to step up towards the top of the mat. Take your fold right here. Now let your neck dangle, your head dangle. You can let it shift and move. Try and release any tension that's built up in this space. Bend the knees a lot. Come all the way up to stand. Reach for the sky. Maybe take that back bend. Maybe that feels really good now. Exhale, come through heart. Make any adjustments that you might need. So we're going to take a balance here. We're going to take an eagle twist. So we're going to come maybe to the middle of your mat. Depending on whether or not you're practicing on carpet, stepping off your mat might actually make this easier. And you might feel really challenged if you guys are practicing at home. So depending on the floor you're on, if you're on hardwood or tile on your mat, great, that's similar to the studio. But if you're on carpet and on a mat, don't judge yourself in any way if your balance poses feel really unstable, because that's a lot of instability underneath your feet. That's challenging, and it's actually building a lot of muscle and dexterity in your body when you have that extra challenge. So if it feels really challenging, really difficult, that's okay. It's all about where you are. Okay, so we're going to step forward on the left foot and put the weight into the left foot. Don't sit in the hip. So sitting in your hip for your balance makes it a lot easier because the hip goes out to the side. It misaligns your spine. It totally changes your center of gravity. It doesn't give you the same kind of benefits though. So bring the hip back over the ankle and underneath the shoulder. Start to push the weight into that left foot and start to get really light on the right. And now the right foot, just come off of it so the toe is barely touching the floor. And see if you can take any arch that's in your low back out by drawing your tailbone back down. You can assess your balance right here without going any further. So if you need to stay right here with your toe down, awesome, that's perfect. But if you can pick up your right leg and cross knee over knee, so which means you're going to bend your standing leg just a little bit. Hands can be at hips, can be at heart. This is eagle with the legs. We're going to add the arms back in if you like. So you can reach your arms out into a T. We're going to bring the right arm under the left, cross at the elbows. Now you can just wrap the arms around if this is better and it feels better. But if you're able or you want to wrap the arms, you can wrap the arms. So sit back a little bit more in your eagle pose here and see if you can lift your elbows a little bit. Squeeze the muscles of the sit bones. Engage your core so you feel really strong. Slow, deep breath right here. This is a really challenging balance. Inhale, see if you can lift the elbows just a little bit. Exhale, unwind the arms first, bring them out into a T, and then unwrap the legs, bring everything down. Take a breath. Give yourself a shakeout. That leg is super fatigued, you can feel it. We're going to shift over towards the right leg this time. So anchor down through the big toe. Start to press the weight into your right leg. Lift the ribs out of your hips so everything's in a nice tall line on this right side. Start to get light on the left. And then see if you can cross the knees. If you're able to hook that toe, awesome. Some people can't. I am not one of the people that is able to do that. Some people, it's super easy. It really depends on the structure of your hips, the length of your legs. It's all about the cross of the knees. So you want to squeeze the thighs together, squeeze the knees together, sit back a little bit on your standing leg. Inhale, take the arms out into a T. This time, left arm under right. And again, cross at the elbows. You can wrap the arms around and just give yourself a big squeeze. Or maybe you wrap the arms palm towards palm or back of hand towards back of hand. Squeeze the sit bone muscles, squeeze the core inward, feel really strong and lifted. Keep your breath flowing. Notice if you're not breathing. Lift your elbows just a little bit. Sit back a little bit more. One more breath right here. Unwrap the arms first, take them out into a T, and then unwrap the legs, let it go. Beautiful. We're gonna come back to the top of the mat. Root back down through the big toe. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, take everything down in that fold, so bend the knees a lot. Come through your flat back, so feel really long. Tailbone goes back, crown of head comes forward. Exhale, fold. We're going to step back into our downward facing dog from here. So just find your way. Place the hands on the floor, step the heels back, shift and move, walk it out. No really strong flow today. We're really focusing on strength, core, and joints, less on the stamina of our movements. So we're going to rise all the way up onto toes, press the floor away. Really feel like you've lifted your hips as high as they can possibly go. Let's unwind forward into a plank just for a breath. Knees are always invited down towards the floor. And then we are going to bring the knees down. So if they aren't already there, take them down. Hips back to child's. Then we're going to come all the way down onto our stomach. So we're going to reach into our shoulders today. We're going to do a shoulder roll so that we can open up the shoulders, find some release through the low back, or sorry, the upper back. So come all the way down onto your mat. You're going to extend the right arm straight out from the shoulder, palm down. And you might want to come a little bit towards the left side of the mat. So when you roll this, you stay on your mat, but Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. Palm is down. Spread the fingers. Let this feel good. The left hand is on the floor. We're going to press the floor away and roll onto our side here first. So adjust your legs. They might stack. They might splay. Try and keep your hand coming straight out from the shoulder. And I want you to adjust your head and neck so this feels really good on your neck, because this is very important. This can twinge your neck a little bit if you aren't really mindful of your body. So you might place a block or a pillow underneath the head. Now this might be all that you need to really feel this in the front line of the shoulder and across the chest. But you can explore coming deeper if you like. So your left foot might find the floor and that knee might rise up. You might scoot your hips forward a little bit more and continue letting feet come to the floor and that top shoulder opening. It's a lot. And when we pause here, it gets stronger. So don't go really, really deep just so you feel a lot, because it's actually not going to be what you need. So find a space where you feel something in the front shoulder. The left hand can come up. It can come across your low back, or it can stay on the floor and just be that gentle pressure away from the floor to reach into that space of your shoulder. Wherever you are, slow, deep breaths right here for 5. Keep your breath full and even if you can. Keep relaxing that extended arm. Let's take one more very intentional breath here. So breathe so that the lungs are as full as they can be, and that might intensify this opening across your chest just a little bit. You might sigh out the exhale, just feel the release. If the left hand is across the low back or raised up, bring it back down towards the floor. And then mindful and very slowly, we're going to roll back towards our stomach. So take your time. This is a lot on the spine. It's a lot on that shoulder, and leave the arm extended. Don't move it. Just breathe into what you feel right here. And then wiggle the fingers on that extended hand. Bring the arm back towards the body. Take a breath here as you start to bring some movement back into that shoulder. And then we're going to set up to do the same thing on the other side. So you might adjust your body on the mat just a little bit. Left hand this time straight out from the shoulder, palm down. Really important that it's palm down. Because if you twist it and palm up, this can feel really jarring through the shoulder. So we want to keep the joint as neutral as we can. And then start to press the floor away with the right hand. Come onto your side, shift your hips forward, adjust and move. So adjust your head and neck so it feels good. Stack your legs in a way that feels appropriate through the lower body. Take that first assessment on your shoulder, and then if it feels good, maybe you find a little bit more sensation. Maybe a foot comes to the floor and a knee rises. Maybe the right hand comes across the low back, and just the intention of that top shoulder opening more gives you everything you need to feel on the bottom shoulder. 5 breaths right here, wherever you are. Keep trying to relax the whole body, not just the arm, the shoulder, but any really intense muscle contraction through the core, through the legs. One more full breath right here. And then the right hand comes back to the floor if it's not already there. Really slow, unwind this roll. So coming slowly and mindful back towards your stomach. Keep the arm extended just for a moment. Breathe into whatever you feel. And then wiggle the fingers, move the wrists, bring the arm back in towards the body. We're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders, press the floor away, come back up to hands and knees. We're going to take a similar release through the hips and the spine. So your options, as we keep slowing down here, are going to be pigeon or swan if you do yin, or deer. So we're going to bring the right knee forward first. And in pigeon pose, the back leg gets extended so you can tuck the toes under and lengthen that back leg, and you start to let the hips come down. This can be really, really strong and uncomfortable for a lot of people. If you are a lover of pigeon and you know where you're going, then you start to slowly find your way in here. You can pop a blanket or a block underneath your right hip. You can adjust yourself as you like, but just stay lifted for a moment. If this is too strong and this doesn't feel good in your body, then bend the back leg. And so the foot is back and the knee comes forward towards the front foot. So this is 90-90, or in yin, we call it deer. It's similar, but it's different. It's a lot more gentle, especially on the front leg, the rotation through the hip and the knee, but it's going to give you a similar release through the hips and the hamstrings. So regardless of what version you're in, I want you just to play a little bit, actually. So if you're in pigeon and you're like, I can do pigeon, I don't love pigeon, try deer. Try bringing that knee forward. And this back leg, you have the control over how far forward it comes. So you might explore it going backwards out to the side. Maybe it's a little bit forward, maybe it's all the way forward. You find space where it feels really good in your body. So whether you're in pigeon or deer, we're going to lift the heart, take a full breath in. And then on your exhale, we're going to walk this forward. So you might just put pressure in your hands, and that might be lots. Depending on how this feels, just very, very slowly, mindful, you're going to explore coming down. So maybe you come towards forearms. Maybe you have blocks or pillows or bolsters under those forearms. Maybe you come with your heart getting closer to the floor. If you're in deer, you're going to notice that your body is going to naturally want to shift towards the front knee. That's okay, let it. Explore how it feels through your hips and find a place where you can feel something through both hips. And then settle in there. And if you're in pigeon, you're going to adjust the bend in that front leg, the intensity of the lengthening in the back leg. So this is an exploration for you. Find a place where you can settle, and then take a slow, deep breath in. And then side out, we're going to stay here for, let's say, 10 breaths. Regardless of what version of this shape you're in, you want to try and relax. So let the core release. Relax the muscles around the sit bones and through the hips. See if you can let any tug of war that might feel like it's happening through the quadriceps and the hamstrings, let that go with your breath. We're going to take 3 more intentional breaths here. So if they need to be really gentle and under the surface for you, that's your intention. If really strong, deep inhales and big sighing exhales is what you feel like you need, then that's your intention. As you let that third breath go, we're going to start to bring the hands back to a space that can support us. So palms to the mat, Inhale, lift the heart first, regardless of how the legs are shaped. Take a breath. And then we're going to make our way back towards hands and knees. So press the floor away, adjust yourself, take your time. And as you get to hands and knees, just take a breath, let go of any strong sensation that moves through. And when you're ready, we're going to bring the left knee forward. And know that you might have taken one shape on the first side and you choose to take a different version of it on the other. That's perfect. I want you to move into your body in a way that feels good. So again, pigeon. Then if left leg is forward, the right leg is back. You can tuck the toes under, draw the leg out from the hip. Let everything come down, untuck the toe in pigeon. Deer, you're going to sit onto that outside hip and bring the leg forward. And you can explore where that back leg lands. It's going to depend on how this feels through your hips. When you're ready, take a full breath in and then start to bring yourself forward. Wherever is perfect. Hands, forearms, your heart might come right down. The body can shift back and forth, side to side, as you explore where this feels really good through your whole line, not just your hips, your spine, your shoulders, everything. And then breathe with intention. Unravel any engagement through the muscles. Relax. Three more breaths right here. And let go of that third breath. Let your hands come back to the floor in a way that's going to support you as you come out. So inhale, lift the heart, take a breath. And then rather than coming to hands and knees this time, we're just going to come to seated. So move slowly in a way that allows you to do that, mindful of any energy shift that might be happening. And then right here, if you're going to like socks or sweaters or blankets or pillows or anything for comfort as we start to come down towards Shavasana, take those now. Now is the perfect time. I'm just going to lower the lights in my studio while you guys start to find your way into something that's more comfortable. When you're able, we're going to come all the way down onto your back. Bring your knees towards your chest. You can rock and roll back and forth. Then we're going to put the feet onto the floor. We're going to scooch the hips towards the left. Keep your shoulders down on the mat. We're setting up for a twist. I'm going to guide you into an eagle twist, which is the same one we just did up on standing. But if this is too much for you through the sidelines of the legs and the body, or some other twist would feel really good, then do that. So we're going to cross the left leg over the right at the knees. If the toe tucks, great. If not, perfect. We're going to pick the knees up and bring them towards the body. Take a full breath in, and then let the legs fall over towards the right. That shoulder will likely lift. That's okay, let it lift. The knees can come right down to the floor. You can support them with blocks or pillows, but then draw your right shoulder out from underneath the body and let your left shoulder get heavy back towards the floor. Full breath in, and then find a home for your arms. So a T might feel good, but if you really want to reach into the shoulders, they might reach up overhead. Find something that works for your body. And then take a sighing exhale and settle. Close the eyes. Take 5 or 6 long, deep breaths here. Relax with each exhale. Take one more full breath here. See if you can send the breath into the rib lines for the outside line of the leg. And adjust your arms. So if they're above, let them come back down. And then engage the core and bring yourself back to center. The feet find the floor and we align the spine just to take a breath. And then taking the other side, scooch the hips towards the right. Right leg crosses over left or whatever version of a twist you're working with. Breath in so the legs come towards the chest. Exhale, letting everything fall over towards the left. Again, that shoulder might lift. That's okay. Draw the left shoulder out from under the body. Let the right shoulder get heavy to the floor. Full deep breath in. Find a home for your arms. So in a T or maybe up overhead. Come back to breath. Relax on every exhale. Two more breaths. And as you let go of this last exhale right here, if the arms are above the head, then come back down towards the sides of your body. Bring yourself back to center, nice and slow. Feet find the floor. Align your spine. And then decide if there's any last movements that you need as we start to find our way into our Shavasana. So support your Shavasana any way you like. You can come to corpse pose. You can come to your side, to seated. Let your eyes close. Take a full, slow, deep breath in. And then exhale, let it go. And come to a space of stillness. Let your mind relax, your body surrender. And just starting to come back to the shift in your breath. Allowing a deeper inhale to start to re-energize you. Inviting in movement through fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Allowing your head to drop side to side. And let's reach the arms up overhead and point the toes long. Take a full good morning stretch. A big breath in. And let it all go. And then move, shift any way that feels right, feels necessary as you start to make your way up towards seated. And then as you rise, just let your sit bones be heavy down, lift your heart tall, close the eyes, just take a breath. Maybe set an intention for your day. And then bringing hands to heart. Take a moment to honor your practice. As always, thank you for sharing your morning with me, allowing me to guide your practice. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy the snow. Namaste.
Namaste.